Imagine wrapping up a major project review. You walked through the timeline, stakeholders nodded, and you left the room feeling on track. But beneath that calm consensus, a critical failure was already quietly forming. Look at this timeline graphic from a marine systems project. Hidden over on the far right is a red dotted line representing a 3-week delivery slip. It appeared in the project manager's working files, but the stakeholders in the room missed it entirely. By the time the review reached that red gap, the presenter had spent their 10-minute window talking through these yellow on-track tasks. The review was structured to passively inform the room, which meant the delay was buried under a wall of good news. To prevent this, we are going to use the S.T.A.G.E method. This framework turns a passive status update into a decision-forcing agenda. You'll need your current project schedule, a list of stakeholder success metrics, and your draft slide deck. We are operating on the principle that comfort and silence in a schedule review are warning signs. True project health requires the room to make choices that carry accountability. Start by deleting your current title slide. We are replacing the standard task list with a single sentence defining the stakes of the meeting. This is the S in the framework. Set the stakes first. Write one sentence that describes exactly what happens if the people in this room do not act today. Opening with concrete stakes, like a penalty clause or a missed regulatory window, targets executive attention. A standard agenda slide rarely earns that level of engagement. Next is T. Tell the truth early. Take your slide deck and reorder it by risk severity. The worst performing item goes first, regardless of where it sits on the actual project timeline. Walking the timeline from left to right burns your most valuable minutes on the items that are already fine. If your meeting runs out of time, ensure it runs out on the low-risk items. This forces the room to spend its energy on the most critical threats first. Now we move to the individual risk slides to apply the A, anchor to priorities. Stakeholders rarely care about abstract days slipped. They care about how those days affect their specific departmental metrics. Under every date on your slide, add a translation line. Convert the delay into the stakeholder's native language. Instead of a 12-day slip, show a $50,000 cost overrun or a reputational risk. This leads to G, give real options. Avoid bringing a single recommendation to the room for approval. Prepare at least 2 viable paths forward for every risk. Ensure each path has a visible trade-off, such as higher cost versus higher schedule risk. Presenting multiple paths forces stakeholders to evaluate the problem and take ownership of the choice. A single recommendation often leads to a passive nod rather than an active decision. Finally, we engineer the meeting structure itself to reach E, earn a decision. This table shows the mindset shift, rigidly dividing your agenda into a short update block and a longer decision block. This change has impact. When stakeholders know their voice is required, data shows a 3-fold increase in questions asked. To break the silence during the decision block, ask this specific question. What here worries you that we haven't discussed? Silence is not consent. It is often a signal that stakeholders are assuming someone else will raise the concern. A room that is only being informed will always nod. True buy-in only exists when a named owner makes a choice they are held accountable for. Your presentation is now a prioritized gauntlet. Every risk item now has a specific name attached to it before the room leaves. The final step determines whether that ownership sticks after the meeting ends. Do not send the slide deck as your primary follow-up. Slide decks are often filed away and forgotten. Within 1 hour of the meeting, send a 2-line summary detailing only what was decided and who owns the next move. This forces anyone who has changed their mind to actively disagree in writing. This 8-point checklist summarizes the workflow. Use these steps to audit your deck before your next review begins. This meeting structure is more difficult to lead because it demands active participation. However, by forcing these choices out into the open, you ensure that risks are surfaced and assigned while there is still time to act.